More information is coming in today on that grizzly bear attack that killed a Grand Rapids man. Over the weekend, we told you that zookeepers in Montana said that the 3 cubs who attacked the campers along with their mother were malnourished and the 4 were desperate for food. But now, wildlife officials say the mother bear weighed less than average but did not appear to be starving. 48-year-old Ken Kammer was killed and 2 others injured during the nighttime attack at Yellowstone National Park last week.
I'm here at the live desk right now with Bert Vescalani, zoo director at John Ball Zoo in Grand Rapids. And this story about this bear attack really seems to keep people intrigued about all of this. Tell us a little bit more about what would be typical behavior for like a grizzly bear in sort of a camping setting, I guess, with campers in the park, for instance.
Yeah, well, you know, bears have this amazing sense. They say that they may have senses 7 times greater than a bloodhound, the smell of 7 times greater than a bloodhound. So if you can imagine, as they're smelling the air and smelling people and perfume and food and whatever it might be, they're going to get curious. And when they get curious and they start to encounter that, that's when you start to run into challenges. And some bears will go off and do their own thing, and other bears will investigate a little bit deeper. And that's probably something similar to what happened here. Depending on where this camper camped and where campers camp in general, to be cautious, know where you are. Look for signs of bear, look for scratches on the trees or gnaw marks or scat or whatever it might be to know that there's bears around, and maybe it's not a good spot for you.
How rare is something like this with a grizzly bear? This was a mom bear, 3 cubs, I think, that went sort of from tent to tent. Tell us a little bit more about how rare something like that might be.
Yeah, I know it does happen, and there have been other cases of bear attacks in tents, but it is very uncommon. Bear and people encounters typically are food motivated, or there's people are going up to a bear or surprising a bear or scaring a bear in some way, running on a trail, whatever it might be. Those are the common bear interactions. But sleeping in a tent out in the middle of kind of an open area, pretty rare and pretty uncommon from what I understand.
You've had a lot of people inquire about this at the zoo here in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate situation, and it's we just feel for the family, obviously, but it's an opportunity as well for us to talk about, you know, what to do in the wild. And wildlife can be dangerous. And all kinds of wildlife, a raccoon, a possum, they don't even need to be a big grizzly bear to be dangerous. So you have to really respect wildlife and treat it with respect in all ways. Give it some distance, leave only footprints, all of those kinds of things.
The cubs have been placed into a zoo in Montana. The mom had to be put down, that bear. What do zoo officials have to keep in mind with these 3 cubs now that they've sort of been in a situation like this?
Right. Well, we always treat animals with respect in that regard. You know, we're not wrestling with the bears and scratching behind their ears and doing anything like that. We treat every wild animal we have in our care with utmost respect and care, and knowing what to do and how to do that. You know, zoos are prepared to do that. They deal with dangerous animals all the time. So typically we have the ability to manage and support the wildlife. Our bears at the zoo came to us as problem bears. They were bears that were coming too close to people and campsites and a variety of things, and instead of euthanizing these animals, they sent them to the zoos and allow us to care for them and tell stories, use them as ambassadors.
And the professionals can handle it. Right. Bert Vescalani from the John Ball Zoo in Grand Rapids, thanks for joining us.
Hey,
we
thanks for
appreciate
having
your
me.
thoughts.